Hey folks, welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Justin Riley and we have a terrific show for you today. We're going to be enjoying some company from some guests who are going to talk to us a little bit about a murder mystery that's coming up here in Janesville. That'll be a lot of fun. Plus some tips on planning for retirement, and we'll find out that paintballing is not just for older kids. Anybody can do it. But first, I'm joined by two very special guests. This is Charles and Billy, the owners of the Academy of Hwarangdo right here in Madison. Welcome, guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So, as I understand, we're going to be talking a little bit about martial arts and community service and community outreach. And you guys host some self-defense events for women. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's correct. Our programs have been in town for over 25 years, and in the last 5 years, what Mr. Dean and I have done is reached out into the community through different facets, like our Women's Self-Defense program. We provide really basic information for women to feel empowered through a basic structure of understanding an issue, possible prevention, de-escalation, and then 3 stages of self-defense if things go to a bad situation.
Yeah, that de-escalation, I think, is an important component of self-defense, really. You know, a lot of folks, when they think self-defense, they immediately think it's something physical, and it's not always physical. There's a psychological component, too.
Absolutely. The prevention is the most important piece, and we don't want anybody to fight if they don't have to.
Right. That's an absolute last resort. So tell us about your bully prevention programs and self-defense for kids.
Essentially, throughout the Madison area, we've done a lot of self-defense presentations, both within the Madison Metropolitan School District and just a free community service at our schools and at various organizations around town. So that has landed us relationships with the Girl Scouts, all the way through relationships with different sororities around town, just kind of piggybacking back to the women's. Our women's self-defense. But all over Madison, again, I think that's one of the coolest things that we have is that, we're in the schools, we're in the community, and it's very applicable to everyone. So
yeah, absolutely. And you guys do some youth programs, you mentioned, with Madison Metro School District and MSCR as well. Talk to us a little bit about what those are and what those look like.
Yeah, a few years ago, Billy and I started just reaching out to some of the schools in the Madison School District, and we're all over Madison. I think between the both of us, there's about 10 schools that we work with, from elementary schools, middle schools, and just recently a couple high schools. Okay. Both on the west side, east side, north side of Madison, and the relationships have been outstanding. We do 3 8-week programs, that cover, again, de-escalation, bully prevention, and just a real basic, a watered-down version of our martial arts curriculum. So
sure, yeah, sort of in a nutshell version of your martial
absolutely arts curriculum. And what makes it cool also is that we take some of the schools' morals and some of their rules, and we incorporate it in with our own martial art ethics and values and things like that. So
yeah, the kids love it because they get all the fun components of martial arts, and what that is it's our vehicle for bringing in those citizen lessons, talking about how to be a good family member, how to be a good student at home, at school, just how to be a good member of the community.
And citizenship, as I understand, is a really big part of the teaching and the practice of martial arts. So I think that's really cool that you guys kind of do that. So obviously there's a huge physical component though to learning martial arts. But I'm guessing that you probably encounter some folks every now and then who might need to have some adaptive instruction, who have some special needs. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you do for folks like that?
We're extremely proud of our adaptive programs because that's something where we feel like everybody can be empowered through martial arts training. Everybody can feel the positive impacts of that. And we have a very robust curriculum, and we have wonderful instructors on staff. Mr. Dean has an adaptive program for people that are wheelchair bound.
Wow.
And on the east side, we have an adaptive program for people on the autism spectrum. So people of all different abilities and all different places in life can feel the positive effect of martial art training.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I want viewers to know really quickly before we go that you have now 3 locations. You have East Side on Theater Road, West Side on Odana Road, and now you just recently opened up a North Side location on North Sherman Avenue.
That is correct, yeah. Back in March, we opened up our new Martial Arts Academy, 1117 North Sherman Avenue. Sure. It's been received so well by the community. I'm a North Sider,
sure.
So it's been really neat having, just some of the local police officers come in, some of the, firefighters come in, and not to mention we're surrounded by a lot of schools, so it's just taken off really well, and we're really proud of it. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So if you want to find out more about what Horangdo is, I would encourage you to call these two fine gentlemen here and find out more, or go to their website. Charles and Billy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, sir.
We'll be right back with more Talk of the Town. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. If you have never been to a murder mystery before, or even if you have, you'll want to stick around and find out about the quiz show murder mystery that's happening in Janesville at the Janesville Little Theater. And I'm joined now by Steve Shaw and Ryan Crandall. Thanks so much for joining us, guys.
Thanks, Justin, for having us.
Good to have you. And I should say it's Ryan Crandall and Steve Shaw in that order, so viewers know the distinction. So talk to us a little bit about this quiz show murder mystery, and give us some details about, like, I guess, what time does the event start, where is it, all that good stuff.
Well, the show is actually held at the Blackbridge Bowling Alley Banquet Hall in Janesville, 1411 Blackbridge Road. The show is August 15th. It's a Saturday evening. Cocktails at 6, dinner at 7. $40 for a ticket. With the $40, you get dinner and the show. We'll have some raffle prizes. We'll have silent auctions. So it's our big fundraiser for the year.
Sure, very cool. And that's not actually a very bad deal at all for dinner and a show then.
No, and it's fantastic food. So
awesome.
People
awesome.
really enjoy it.
Yeah, and murder mysteries really are, I mean, it's when you say it's at the convention center, that's really meant to be more of an interactive type of thing between the actors and the audience. It's not like you're sitting in seats, you're watching us play on stage. You're actually kind of interacting with the audience a little bit.
Exactly, and that's in the past, 3-4 years now we've done them. This year and last year was, actually they've all been locally written, locally produced, locally
really?
directed. Yeah.
Very cool.
I've written the last 2 shows, and then I'm directing this year. This will be my directorial debut, so to speak.
Well, congratulations
Thank you.
on that.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to checking it out. And when do tickets go on sale? And what you mentioned there, 40 per person. And when do they go on sale?
Tickets went on sale yesterday.
Okay.
So you can call area code 608-728-8004 to get your tickets. Reserve them now. We've only got about 100, enough seating for about 110, so you don't want to wait.
Sure.
We found that people, once they start hearing about this, it'll fill up really fast, and we have had to turn people away too. So don't wait. And even the folks from Madison, you're more than welcome to come on down and see the show and see what Janesville Little Theater really does. We do just a fantastic job.
Sure, yeah, it sounds like it. And I mean, do tickets sell pretty quickly usually? I mean, within a couple of weeks or a month?
Yeah.
Or?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So
We're usually sold out before the month is out. Our sales run from July 13th till August 13th, but we'll probably be sold out before August 13th.
Wow, that's incredible. So tell us a little bit about the show. Like, what can we expect to find or to see or hear and experience?
Number one, we always like our guests in a show like this to have fun. So there's comedy in there. It's a show for all ages because I was actually able to write a part for my daughter this year. So I get to work with my daughter on stage. She's 12, so we've got something for the kids.
Yeah.
And then we've also got adult characters and stuff. And it's interactive. So you get to make your guesses on who you think the murderer was or is or who. I'm not going to give anything away. We want you to come see the show on August 15th.
Of course.
But it's a little bit different feel, but it's fun. Most important, people want to come and enjoy it and have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And you had mentioned, of course, the food. That's what makes the experience even that much more fun is, they get the show and they get the food. So talk to us about what's on the menu.
Well, Blackbridge does a fantastic job with their food. Last year was our first year working with them, and they didn't hold back at all.
Yeah.
This year we're going to be having a chicken and a pork to be able to choose from, or get both, mashed potatoes, gravy, green beans, and then we'll have a dessert as well, and coffee, water, and actually they've got a signature roll that is to die for.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, my mouth is watering now. I had a small breakfast, so be careful. Talk to us a little bit about the Janesville Little Theater in general. How long have you guys been around? What do you typically do throughout the year?
Well, we're a community theater. We're all volunteers. Okay. This is our 86th season.
Okay.
We are the oldest community theater in Janesville who have continuously produced shows. We started producing shows in 1929. We're pretty proud of that.
Yeah.
We usually do our performances at Janesville Performing Arts Center.
Okay.
Our summer show is the exception. And we invite everybody to come down and see some really quality community theater.
Very cool. And really quickly before we go, can you kind of give us a preview of what's coming up this next season after summer is out for James?
Yes, in November we'll be doing Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
Oh, good.
And then in February we'll be doing a romantic comedy kind of for Valentine's Day called Marrying Terry.
Okay.
That's kind of a mistaken identity kind of show, two people with the same name and they end up getting registered at the same hotel room on the same night. And then we finish our season out in April with a British comedy called See How They Run, which is set at the end of World War II. So I think we have a pretty good season, a little bit of everything for everybody out there, from heavy drama and all the way to fun romantic comedy.
Awesome. Ryan Crandall and Steve Shaw from Janesville Little Theater, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Justin.
Don't go away. We've got more Talk of the Town coming up right after this. Stay with us. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. Maybe you're my age and you haven't really thought as much as you should about retirement planning, but I want you to stick around for these next two guests because they're going to tell you a lot of great information about planning for retirement. I'm joined now by Nate Condon and Clint Walkner from Walkner Condon Financial Advisors. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
So I'm really excited to kind of hear a little bit more about this and learn some things myself. Obviously, retirement readiness means different things to different people. How would you define retirement readiness?
Well, we really look at it as a two-prong approach when we deal with our clients. One being the financial aspect, and obviously that's what most people think about with retirement readiness.
Sure.
You know, how much do they need per month to be able to make their ends meet, and you know, do they have enough savings to be able to get there? But really, the second prong is the one that a lot of people forget about, which is from an emotional side, from a mental side. Are they ready to retire?
Yeah.
They've gone to work for 40 years doing the same thing, getting out of bed, getting ready to go. Now that's going to stop. And do they have a plan? Do they know what they're going to do with their time? Do they know how they're going to keep their mind sharp and kind of fill that void that their career filled previous to that?
So do you guys offer any advice in like how people can mentally and psychologically plan for retirement at all, or?
Yeah, there's a big analytics side to what we do, but every time we go through retirement, there's also that sort of personal side, and we spend a fair amount of time counseling people on that, and we talk about certain things like, you know, do you want to do some volunteer work, or what kind of makes you tick? And so when we talk about retirement with them, how do you fill that void? And I think the most important thing is to start setting that up 6 months before you actually retire, and start to get, you know, if you're going to be on a board or if you're going to do some volunteer work, get that established before you actually do that.
Have the plan in place before you actually make
that's
the
right.
move.
That transition's easier than mentally.
Right, yeah, absolutely. So, you know, as more and more people, I'm guessing, you know, not knowing a whole lot about this business, but I'm guessing that people nowadays who plan to retire are facing different challenges than they did, you know, 30, 40 years ago. What are some of the biggest challenges that retirees are facing nowadays?
I think one of the things is the realization that they're going to be living possibly another 40 years after their retirement.
Yeah.
You know, technology's, you know, with everything keeping people going, and now we can make a hip replacement, and you know, 3 weeks later they're up and running. So I mean, it's a longevity issue, and that they could work for 40 years and then live for another 40 years, and having the assets last that long.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And I get, what are some common mistakes that people are making as they're entering into retirement?
Well, one of the most common mistakes that we see is people not having a good understanding of how much they actually spend per month in their household.
Sure.
And they're looking for the advisor to kind of tell them how much they can afford in retirement spending. Not really the best way to go about that task, because if somebody is used to spending X amount of dollars and then they think, well, in retirement I'll spend that minus 20 or 30 or 40%, that's not really what we're seeing. And I think most people can agree, shifting a lifestyle down from what they're used to is not an easy transition. And so then what happens is they continue to spend to their normal level, and then they start to realize the issues of, oh my goodness, my money is now dwindling. And so really having a good understanding of what their monthly budget is it does wonders for an advisor to be able to help them.
So that's sort of a step one almost for folks, even my age in their 30s, to say, okay, keep track of how much money I'm spending on a month-to-month basis, so that when it comes time to retire, I can look back on previous months and previous years and say, okay, this is how much I really need to live comfortably.
And establishing that savings habit too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we have a lot of folks who watch this show, a lot of UW system employees who watch this program. What do UW system employees have to consider that might be different from somebody who is employed in the private sector?
Well, they have a pension, and that pension is a guaranteed stream of income to them. So that impacts their retirement income projection positively that way. But they've got a lot of nuances of their plan. Their plan is a lot more complex than just saving in a 401k plan and being done with it. So they've got 403B and 457 options inside of their plan, on top of sick leave conversion coming into retirement. So there's a lot of complexities of their plan, and they need a hand, oftentimes with an advisor, to walk them through that and just kind of get them to their retirement and understand what it all means.
Right, absolutely. A lot of good things to consider. Well, Nate Condon and Clint Walkner from Walkner Condon Financial Advisors, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Great info. Don't go away. We've got more Talk of the Town coming up right after this. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. If you are looking for something fun, exciting, and intense to occupy your time over the weekend or even on a vacation day, then this is the person that you'll want to talk to. I'm joined now by Doug DeBack from the Siege Paintball out in Mukwonago. Doug, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Good to have you here today. So, first of all, talk to us a little bit about how long you guys have been open at the Siege, and why did you decide to open up a paintball business?
Yeah, so we've been open over 13 years.
Okay.
Decided to open a business because I like managing people and kind of taking control of the wheel.
Sure.
And at my where I worked, I wasn't able to do that, so we decided to start this up. It was strictly a business opportunity.
Okay, and you just had kind of an affinity to paintball? You had done it before and just enjoyed it, or?
I played a couple times in the woods, and
Sure.
that was really it. We opened the location where I grew up as a dairy farm.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
Very cool. So, talk to us a little bit about paintballing, because some of us have, I'm sure most of us have probably heard of it, but maybe, I would say most of us maybe not have done it yet. Is it safe?
Yeah, so we have less injuries in paintball than happen even in golf.
Really?
Yeah, it's safer than any high school sport that's out there.
Yeah.
Any injuries we have typically are, twisted ankles or stuff like that, running around injuries not related specifically to paintball.
Sure. Not related to actually getting hit by the paintball
Correct.
itself. Yeah. Absolutely. So, what types of what types of clientele do you get? What types of people are interested in playing paintball?
We get a very wide gamut of people, which makes it harder to hit our audience.
Sure.
We do birthday parties as low as 8 years old now, and we get people all the way in their 60s, 70s, 80s that play.
Really?
Yeah, so it's a very vast group of people, which keeps it really fun and interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Now, do the folks who are in their 80s, do they play with the 8-year-olds, or are they usually kind of are the groups sort of age specific?
No, the groups are not age specific. Sometimes we have people book private parties where they only play with their group. So, but what we find typically with the different age groups is they usually, like if they're little for a 10-year-old birthday party, obviously they're doing a private thing and they're not actually playing with older people.
Sure, absolutely. So, obviously you had said that you've been open for 13 years now?
Yep.
How has your business evolved or changed in that amount of time?
Well, when we first opened, paintball was at a huge growth, and we didn't have to advertise, we didn't have to do anything, and people showed up to our doors. It was wonderful. And over the years, we've had to go out and actively grab our customer a lot more.
Sure.
And then we've also seen a change in the type of customer. We focus now on parties, a lot of private parties and stuff, and the competitive side of it is very strong right now too.
So you have actually like competitive teams that come there and like part of leagues? Is that like a league type of thing? Or?
Yeah, so we host tournaments,
Sure.
as well as we have a tournament team that travels all over the U.S. playing paintball.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. And they're part of the Siege, or they're associated with the Siege paintball?
Yeah, they're a home team, so
okay.
I put them to work for trade of basically goods and stuff.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So, let's say it's, you know, again, a lot of our viewers probably haven't played, and maybe they're thinking about doing it after seeing you talk about it a little bit. What can they expect for their first time playing paintball?
Well, we have everything pretty scheduled for the people, so they don't feel like they're coming into something new and get very nervous.
Right.
So, I mean, first we have everybody check in, they get their equipment. Right away, they're linked up with a referee.
Sure.
And that referee will go over how to use the equipment, the gameplay rules, and all the safety rules. That referee stays with them as they travel from course to course throughout the day.
Very cool. And do you have any upcoming events that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, so we have a few. We have a large scenario game that's actually it's called the Battle of Wei. It's a Vietnam scenario game where it actually reenacts Vietnam battles that actually happened.
Wow.
As well as in October, the first Sunday, we run a cancer benefit that we've done every year. This will be our 10th year running our cancer benefit. And the whole month of October, we're transforming to do a very large haunt.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yes.
Very cool. So, you know, as you probably are aware, most of our viewership is here in Dane County, and then probably about half of it is in Dane County, and the rest is in the counties that are surrounding Dane. Why should someone drive out to Mukwonago to visit the Siege?
Well, first of all, I got here way quicker than I thought I was going to.
Okay.
So, they're going to have a great time. We're creating an experience for them.
Sure.
So obviously we're not expecting them to come every weekend.
Right.
But it's well worth the drive. We have indoor courses, outdoor courses, so no matter what the weather's like, they're going to be ready to play and have a good time.
Indoor and outdoor, and it's not as far of a drive as people might think.
Correct.
Doug DeBack from the Siege Paintball in Mukwonago, thank you so much for joining us
All right,
today.
thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us on Talk of the Town today. We'll see you next time.